Hey there, who are you and what do you do?
All right, my name is Nick Skytland. I'm the director of the NASA Open Government Initiative.
And as you can see the sign behind you, we're here in what NASA Ames, here in very sunny California. You look a little bit sunburned. What have we been doing here for the past couple of days?
So this has been a fantastic event for 2 days. We've had leaders from the open source community, both within government and outside, gathered together to talk about the future of open source at NASA.
Okay, and what does that future look like after a couple of days of discussion, debate, feedback, online and off?
I'm hopeful. It looks pretty good. We have a lot of suggestions. We had, I think, over 47 different topics suggested and were discussed here, and over 65 concrete solutions that were recommended for the future of open source at NASA. So I think it's looking pretty good. We have a lot of work in front of us to actually implement all those ideas, but I think the general message has been sent that open source is a valuable tool for NASA to consider in the future, and I think we're definitely going down that path.
So I've talked to a lot of people about the open source side of this. You're the right guy to ask about the open government side of this.
That's
right. How have you tried to make this more open? What have been some of the tools you've used? What are some of the challenges and successes or things you change for the future?
So open government, ultimately, we have technology, we have policy, which is what this event is really all about. But fundamentally, open government is about culture and changing culture to embrace new technology, change our policy, and give permission to experiment and try things that maybe we hadn't considered before to improve the way we do business and also to just contribute to our mission. So, open government has been trying a lot of things. We've been holding a lot of events. We're launching a new website, which will be open.nasa.gov next Wednesday as a celebration of the 1-year anniversary. We're looking at new ways of sharing data. We've released a lot of data sets online, but we're looking at new ways of even communicating that data so people know what data is available and how they can use it. We have a lot of projects going on that just increase transparency, collaboration, and participation. This whole thing we use as an opportunity to experiment with the whole idea of remote participation in an event. We had over 500 people registered, 260 people online actively engaged in conversation at one time throughout the event, which is a fantastic experience and a good experiment in what it looks like to try to transcend that barrier that's really been there between physical and remote participation. And we already have a commitment from our senior management to apply this to an upcoming NASA event called the IT Summit in August. So they were very impressed with it, and I think we're really making change.
What are some of the lessons learned from trying to do a hybrid event like this, virtual and physical, for other people in government?
Yeah, we've learned a lot. One of the things we learned in particular is, oftentimes online participants feel like second-class citizens. You call into a telecon and you never get a chance to speak. So we learned that in some instances it's really good to have both the online and physical participants doing the same thing, as an example, watching the keynote speaker via Ustream, and then in some cases it's better to have them separated out. So one of the things we did here is we had separate conversations for the people in person and the people online, so they all had an opportunity to speak, and we had no more than 8 people in the room at one time. So it worked out really well. We got a lot of input, and people really felt like they had a chance to contribute.
And what were some of the tools you used? Would you use the same ones? Would you add different things on? Lessons learned there?
Good question. So we used nasa.gov/open/source as our main hub, which you can go to check out all the things that we've done. We have it all archived there. We use Ustream to live stream it. We had chat from Ustream as well. We also use Maestro Conference to really manage the online participation, which worked out really well. We'll probably use again in the future. And then we use Google Documents, which works out really well to collect input, to aggregate the feedback. The one thing about Google Documents that's interesting that we ran up against twice now is there's a 50-person limitation with a number of people who can contribute to a document at one time. So we've looked at using Etherpad as well. That may evolve in the future, but maybe Google will up that limitation so we get more people contributing.
As you look at the response online, how many people were actively dedicated just to facilitating the virtual to physical connection? What kind of staffing requirement did that require?
It's a really good question. So what we did was we duplicated the in-person staff and the remote staff. We had 2 people really managing the in-person event. There was a moderator and then a coordinator. We did the same thing online, where we had a moderator and a coordinator online. Then we had a staff of people that were involved with communication, just general logistics, etc. The entire team for this whole 700-person event was 10 people, and we pulled together the whole thing in less than 6 weeks.
Wow. And everyone's quite concerned about the cost of these sorts of things.
Yes.
How do you think about the return on investment for an event like this in terms of the outcomes?
This is huge. We actually did this at minimal cost. It's held at Ames Research Center, a NASA facility. No one was really paid to participate in this. Everyone did it volunteer time. And on top of that, just the valuable contributions we got. All the keynote speakers were amazing. The people who participated were amazing. And the input that we got is invaluable advice going forward. We could have paid enough money to get this, and we got it for a very low cost. So the payout has been fantastic.
And as you say, outcomes, that sounds like there's a lot of policy recommendations that'll be collated in the next couple of days that actually is going to go to people who will be in a place where they can work on it?
Yeah, so actually a few things. I think we have a policy outcome. We also have a governance model that we really need to work on. And finally, we need kind of a process, but essentially a choose-your-own-adventure type policy website that says, hey, I'm doing this project, this is the type of license that applies. So 3 main things going forward, but all essentially revolving around changing the policy, because that's the rules that govern how we do software development and open source development at NASA.
Okay. Well, again, Nick, thanks for your time. Thanks for your work on this. And if people want to find you online, where should they go?
You can find me on Twitter at Skytland, Skytland, or check out nasa.gov/open.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, Alex.